Oh, alright, that was a challenge. With an amount of content to rival the last two Doctors combined, I definitely underestimated how long this would take to complete. I am so sorry to keep you all waiting like this, and thank you ever so much for your patience. Believe me, I am just as frustrated as the rest of you, but I'm beyond grateful at all the kind words you've been throwing my way this whole series. Though I did want to address one thing really quick, because I know that many of you have been concerned that my rankings have been low, and frankly, looking back, I agree. But there's the rub with putting numbered ranks on the internet for all to see. Once it's in the video, that's seen as my opinion forever. And in the short time between those videos and now, my list would likely look completely different. I was admittedly also rushing my way through some of these episodes just to get the videos done faster for you guys, which skewed my opinions. I tried to take my time and let each story digest this time around, but double-edged sword, I suppose. Bottom line is, I am always happy to watch and talk about any episode of Doctor Who. I mean, really, anything above a 2, I had some form of a good time watching. If I ranked your favorite story a 6 or something, definitely let me know what you saw in it. I'd love to hear how your views differed from mine. With all that said, let us now transition to an era of color, unit, and fancy cars and talk about the Third Doctor. Jon Pertwee played the Third Doctor after Troughton left the role behind and sparked a time in the show I'd argue is unique to him and him alone. Isolated to one planet and one time for the majority of his tenure, Pertwee's show featured far less alien worlds and far more aliens invading Earth type stories. He also became the scientific advisor to UNIT, who made their debut last incarnation. And this task force would become as important to the stories as the Doctor himself. Quick note though, I don't consider any member of UNIT as a companion per se. 2 of them I don't think fit the criteria, and that one transcends all companions ever. But I'm getting ahead of myself, we'll come to that later. Jon Pertwee's run went from 1970 to 1974 and consisted of 5 seasons with 24 stories. Now, how does he only have 24 stories if he almost doubled the amount of seasons as the last 2 guys? Well, his stories were much longer, many of them being 6 to 7 parters, which definitely makes him one of the longest tenures an actor had in the role. I say one, we'll get to him next time. This incarnation of the Doctor was more serious than the last 2, and more frustrated due to his situation of being stranded on Earth, no TARDIS to help, for the most part. But he was also a man of action, being way more hands-on than previous incarnations, and he had oodles of charm to spare. He was a fast talker and a fast worker. Many have said that Pertwee's era felt like a James Bond movie, and I can see where they're coming from here. As he says himself,
I'm quite spry for my age, actually.
Also, I love this Doctor's outfits. Bunch of velvet coats and frills and capes, cloaks, classy stuff. Really made him look like your classic Sherlock Holmes. And what's a Sherlock without his Moriarty? This era of Doctor Who introduced the Doctor's longtime rival, the Master. Another rebel Time Lord, this time with nothing but trouble in mind. This first incarnation was played by Roger Delgado and would set the benchmark for all Master actors going forward. I absolutely love the dynamic between the Doctor and Master here. It's an equal battle of wits, and he appears in so many stories that you get to see many confrontations and little character moments between the two. But I'm rambling extremely at this point, so let's get on to the main event. I'll quickly breeze over what I do here as it has been a while. Every single story gets ranked from 1 to 10 and gets a 10-word comment. Not so much meant to be a review, just some quick observation or feeling. I will list how many parts each episode is, which companions were present, and great news, now that we are out of the black and white era, no more missing stories. From here on out, every single story is alive and available. Now, without any further delay, let's get started. Every Third Doctor story reviewed in 10 words or less. Sets the stage so well it could have been the pilot. Mature and topical. We've already come a long way. Really good, I just wish it was 2 parts shorter. Apocalyptic parallel world makes for tense scenarios with alter egos.
Eternal wisdom is my guide. I am the Doctor.
Master aside, this is definitely the lesser of 2 autons. Doctor Who tackles Clockwork Orange style criminal reform? Cool. Personally, this really didn't do it for me. Flimsy spaghetti. There's a super engaging story buried under all the politics. Everybody's top of their game in this Hammer horror classic.
My voyage dissects the course of time.
Rare instance of classic Who discussing time travel paradoxes. This was a surprise hit. I wish there was more. Not as philosophical as Silurians, but way more action-packed. Gray. Laughably bad performances, but in a good bad way. Minus Chicken God, you could do much worse than this.
Metallic teeth begin their grind.
It's really 2.5 Doctors, but hey, I'm certainly not complaining. This was insanity! Taking shots at courts, zoos, oh my! It's amazing world building like this works on such small budget. There's so much happening, yet my investment's down rock bottom. Joe Grant has graduated companion school with flying colors. Sontaran, Sarah, and medieval setting makes this one near perfect. A decent conspiracy plot. Okay, we know the puppets stink. Why are the Daleks even here? Can't say this was the more I was hoping for. Shows off everything this era was. So long, Space Dandy. Alright, that's that. Now let's talk about the companions, of which there are only a mere 3. Well, plus Unit. Yeah, probably time we talk about Unit. While there are hundreds of nameless soldiers we see, 3 members stand out the most as we see them the most often and they have the most dialogue. Sergeant Benton is like a loyal ally to the Brigadier and the Doctor, always ready to run to the front lines and get stuff done. I don't have a ton to say on him, he does have his good moments. The Brig tends to bust his chops a lot and his reactions are always priceless. But he could always contribute to the team. If the Doctor's the Joker, the Brigadier's the King, and the Companion is the Queen, then Benton is certainly the Jack. But I don't know what that makes Captain Yates. From his very first appearance talking down to new Companion Joe, something about him rubbed me the wrong way. Nothing against Richard Franklin, of course, this character just didn't do it for me. He strikes me as a young wisecracker trope, not taking things too seriously, mocking his boss behind his back, that kind of thing. And his surprise plot twist near the end of the series, that I won't spoil here, just comes out of nowhere and doesn't really amount to much. So let's instead talk about someone who does amount to much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. This man is not just a companion, not just the leader of Unit, he's the Doctor's greatest friend through all of his incarnations. He's always got the Doctor's back, ready to support him even in the most ridiculous requests. The Brig knows the Doctor knows best and will do anything to protect Earth from any alien menace. Every story he's in, he gets to shine. Many aliens have fallen to his forces and stratagems, and every time he sees the Doctor in a new body, he's ready with a cup of tea. What a legend. There's a reason echoes of him are felt even in the modern series.
I just do the best I can.
Now for our first true companion. Scientist Liz Shaw, assistant to the Doctor as he got used to his new role as Unit's scientific advisor. She had a very short run as a companion, being only present in the first 4 stories. We never even got to see her say goodbye to the Doctor. All that said though, what little we did see proved Liz Shaw was not your average run-of-the-mill companion. She was an intellectual with degrees in physics and in medicine. She would have been the smartest character on the show, if the Doctor didn't exist. With the Doctor around, Liz's genius couldn't compare, and I think both Liz as a character and the writers themselves noticed this problem. Liz's final message to the Doctor was suggesting that his next assistant be someone who can look up to him, instead of someone who felt looked down upon. So a short tenure, however, outside of Doctor Who, Carolyn John got to reprise her role as Liz in the Probe series. So at least her story didn't end with Inferno. Now we get to a big dilemma. Who to put next? These 2 companions are both legendary in status, and it's a constant debate as to which one is the definitive Pertwee companion. Personally though, I'm gonna start with Sarah Jane Smith. While Sarah Jane is unquestionably amazing, with only 1 season as a companion to Pertwee, I see her time here as an appetizer for her real adventures with the 4th Doctor. But here with 3, she still knocks it out of the park. Heck, I doubt I have to explain to you why Sarah is widely regarded as the greatest companion in Classic Who. She was confident, funny, caring, unfazed by the bizarreness around her, and the companion who changed what being a companion to the Doctor actually meant. Someone who can really stand beside the Doctor and be his right hand. She was so spectacular, she was given 2 TV shows, and went on to be one of the only 2 classic companions to meet a modern Doctor on television. I plan on going into far more detail about her when I get to the 4th Doctor, as we see all the elements triple-fold due to how much longer she was around. But for now, know that you're always in for a good scene if Sarah Jane is in it. Now, I did say one of 2 companions to meet a modern Doctor.
And they told me that you'd left unit, never came back. So I waited. I waited because you said you'd see me again. You did. I asked you and you said yes. You promised. I've waited my whole silly life.
Oh, no, but don't you see? How could I ever find you? You spent the past 40 years living in huts, climbing up trees, tearing down barricades. You've done everything from flying kites on Kilimanjaro to sailing down the Yangtze in a tea chest. Not even the TARDIS could pin you down.
So you've been watching me?
The last time I was dying, I looked back on all of you, every single one. And I was so proud.
Josephine Grant. The evolution of Jo throughout her time on the show is something I don't think we've seen repeated since. When she arrives to assist the Doctor, he is thoroughly unimpressed. She's anxious, confused, barely understands a word the Doctor is saying, and makes several big mistakes that make situations worse for everyone. But with each passing story, she learns something new. She asks a lot of questions, but you can tell she's taking notes in her head. With time, she ends up proving her case to the Doctor. Suddenly, she was throwing ideas back at the Doctor, matching his witticisms. They seemed to be growing a silent bond of teamwork that couldn't be matched. By some of their later episodes, the amount of maneuvers they pull off together without even a second thought is a sight to behold. I constantly found myself laughing at their adorable moments together, while also being impressed by how competent Jo was becoming after her shaky debut. A deliberate shaky debut. It's rare to see classic Who have any sort of purposeful arc. This was an age, after all, when arcs were booed off stage before they even had a chance to finish. Yet this one proved to be fully developed and extremely enjoyable. By her final story, The Green Death, she was a fully capable mini-Doctor in her own right, and I think the best companions out there end up leaving the Doctor stronger than they were when they met him. Jo Grant surprised and amazed us all, and I believe she is the definitive 3rd Doctor companion. I'm done! That's the entire 3rd Doctor era checked off the list. Man, thank you for sticking around this long. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave your comments down below about what you thought about each story, or if you just want to reminisce about your 3rd Doctor experiences. Do let me know which story is your favorite, and how our personal rankings might differ. And yeah, as for the elephant in the room, I'm gonna start watching 4th Doctor stories now in preparation for the next video, but it'll likely take some time. I will at least say that I'm aiming for it to not take as long as this video did to complete, but circumstances might prevent that from happening. I promise to do the best that I can. Once again, thank you all, and here's to the new year. By the way, while working on this, I noticed that I have 1,000 subscribers and that some of my videos are rapidly approaching 20K. Thank you so much, guys.